So today, let's learn some fun facts about doing note cards, secondary sources, and handing in all the important things for our thesis conference. So first, let's talk about a bibliographic card. Bibliographic cards and note cards, we're going to number, if it's our first source, we're going to number it 1. And for this bibliographic card, for our short story, we're going to put the author's last name, comma, then first, then a period. We're going to put the title of the short story in quotation marks and a period inside the quotation marks. If we got it from a book or from an online source, we'd underline it, put a period after that, and then some of the important print information that we need. So we're going to put where it's published, we put a colon, we put the publisher, put a comma, and then we put the year with a period. If it's an actual print source, we're going to put the word print with a period after that, and then the actual page numbers it's on. Now, in the bottom right-hand corner, if you got it from a particular library, make sure you note what library it's from. If you got it from an online source, you can just put the word online. Or if you bought the book and you own it, just put down, I own it. And then you don't have to do what's on the left-hand side of the card. If you got it from a particular library, that library orders things in a particular order, according to the Dewey Decimal System. And on the spine of your book, you'll know the call letters that are on it. Now, if it's a KMHS book, it's not going to be the KMHS number. There are other call letters at the bottom of the spine that you should be able to find. And if you can't find them, bring in the book and I'll be more than happy to point that out. So we have 3 short stories, so we're going to have 3 bibliographic cards for each one of these. Now, next we're going to talk about different kinds of note cards. Next kind of note card, first kind of note card is a quote card. And since this is our first source, we're going to number it number 1 in the upper right-hand corner. And a quote card is what it is. It's the exact words of the quote, and we just put it inside quotation marks. And if you want to make any notes why that quote's important or how it relates to your thesis, how it relates to the story, you can write those underneath the quote. You can put them on the back. But in the bottom right-hand corner, I have to know what kind of card it is. So in parentheses, you could put direct or you can put DQ. And then if it's a print source, you could put the page number or page numbers that it's on. Or if it's an online source under direct, you just put online. So first type of note card. Second type of note card. The next type of note card is the summary card. And again, this is dealing with our first source. So top right-hand corner, I'm just going to put the number 1. And all you're trying to do is summarize the main ideas of a source. And you might want to summarize a paragraph or 2 and put it in your own words. What's important? How's it relating to your thesis? And the bottom right-hand corner, all you do in parentheses is shorten it up to SUM. And then, again, if it's from a print source and it has page numbers, put the page numbers, or if it's an online source, just put the words online. So we have quote cards, we have summary cards. Another type of card is the paraphrase card. And again, a paraphrase card, if it's with our first source, we're going to put number 1 in the upper right-hand corner, and paraphrase just rephrases the material you gathered from a source and you're putting it into your own words. These would be notes, ideas. Maybe you take a little bit from what's in the source and put it into your own words and put those down on the card. In the bottom right-hand corner, in parentheses, put PARA. And again, with the page numbers, if you have page numbers with it, put those down. If it's an online source, just put the word online underneath there. So 3 types of cards: quote card, summary card, paraphrase card. Okay? Now we're going to do 3 note cards for every short story. So if we have a bibliographic card with 3 note cards, for every story we're going to have 4 cards. And if we have 3 stories, we're going to have a total of 12 cards for our 3 stories. Now, Secondary source cards, these are going to help support our thesis behind our in our paper. And this is going to be, we'd number these 4, 5, and 6. In this case, I got our fourth one. And the easiest way to do this, instead of writing all this information out, is find out where the source is. In this case, I got it from the Gale group here. And you could put all this information, you could write it out on the card. But I can show you a quicker way at the end of this presentation how to put all this information on a card. And again, if we're getting it from an online source, we'd put the word online at the bottom. So this would be, let's say, one source that we're going to use if we're writing a paper. So we've got all our cards here. These would be our 3 short story cards. Okay, so we have 4 per story, so that's going to give us 12 cards, and you can have more total, but the minimum number I should see is 12 for the short stories. And then if I click ahead to the secondary source card, so I have my 4th source here, I have a 5th source here, I have a 6th source. Again, I'm going to do a bibliographic card. I'm going to do 4 note cards. So I'm going to have a minimum, so 3 secondary sources. Okay, 4 cards apiece. So that's going to be 12 cards minimum. Okay, a total of 12 cards for the short stories, 12 cards for the secondary sources. So my final total is going to be 24 cards minimum. Minimum of 24 cards. Now, next thing I'd like to show you is how to do one of these secondary source cards, because sometimes they can be a little tricky. How you can take a shortcut. So let's say you find a secondary source. So I found a secondary source here in the Gale group, and let's say I was talking about death in Edgar Allan Poe's stories. And here I have something that deals with 3 of the stories. Now, one thing you can remember, and one thing you shouldn't do, is feel that you're only limited to using sources that deal with, that state your particular story. You can use any secondary source that talks about the theme or themes used by your writer. So whether it deals with a novel, whether it deals with a different type of short story, if it relates to your theme and your thesis, you can use that. You just want to make sure you show how it relates to the theme, the thesis dealing with your stories. So in this case, I have 3 short stories: The Black Cat, The Cask of Amontillado, and Fall of the House of Usher. Now this would be probably a good quote dealing with death, and so I'd put this on a note card. Maybe I put a summary card saying what it means. But when I told you about how to do a good bibliographic card, instead of writing all that information on the bibliographic card, it's all right here. So this is all the information you're going to need to put on your Works Cited page. All you have to do is copy this, print this out, and cut this down and put this on glue it to or tape it to an index card. All right, that's all you have to do. And then make sure when you find an article that you like, you either download it or save it or print it out, because you're going to have to bring this article. All right, you're going to have to bring this article. So bring to the conference. All these secondary sources you're going to need, you want to bring to the conference. And then what I would probably do is I'd just highlight these and make sure that I'm prepped for my conference. If you have any further questions on how to complete your cards, on what kind of secondary sources you need, by all means, come and see me before or after school. I'll be more than happy to help you out.